The next way to find slope is from an equation. So the first step is to solve the equation for y. Remember, we call that function form. Slope is our rate of change. It's how much each variable is changing. So it is next to the variable x. The slope is the coefficient of x. If you remember, coefficient means the number in front of a variable. So if we had 2x, 2 would be the coefficient. So if you look up here at this equation, y equals mx plus b, m is your slope. It's the coefficient of x, it's the number next to x. So whatever number we would put there for m is going to be your slope. So for our first example, if I gave you the equation y equals 3x plus 2, what would the slope be? Circle that on your piece of paper. Should have circled 3. 3 is your slope. It's the number next to x. What if I gave you the example y equals negative 1/2 x plus 7? What would be the slope? Circle it on your paper. Should have circled negative 1/2. That would be your slope. Now those are pretty nice and easy because they're already solved for y. They're in function form. Now what if I gave you the equation 2x plus 2y equals 4? Well, that equation is not solved for y. So we have to first do step 1, solve the equation for y. We're going back to our chapter 3 skills. So first step is to move the x by doing the opposite. 2x minus 2x is 0. Bring down the 2y. Equals, we cannot put 4 and 2x together, so we do 4 minus 2x. We leave it just like that. Last step is to divide everything by 2 to get y all by itself. So we have y equals 4 divided by 2 is 2, minus 2 divided by 2 is 1x. So we have the equation y equals 2 minus 1x. Now circle your slope. Which number is right in front of your variable x? Should have circled negative 1. 1 is right in front of the x, and we do need to keep the sign with the number. So in this equation, our slope, our m, is negative 1. The last way to find slope is from 2 points, from 2 coordinate points. So first we want to label the x and y coordinates. Then we want to find the change of y and the change of x by subtracting. We're going to write the slope as the change of y over the change of x. So now those steps can be a little confusing, but if we just keep them straight, we'll be able to find our slope from 2 points. There is a formula for this, and we say it's m equals y2 minus y1. So we put a little baby 2 in the bottom right-hand corner of the number. That just says we're looking at the y from the second point minus the y from the first point, because we're looking at 2 coordinate points. Then we have x2 minus x1. And that's just how we say it. We say y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So let's go over some examples here. First example will be 0, 4, and -1, 5. First step is to label your x and y coordinates. So we want to label them x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. So each coordinate point has an x and a y. Our 0 is our x coordinate, our 4 is our y coordinate. Now this is our first x and our first y. So we say this is x1 and y1. Then in our second point, we also have an x and our y, but now it's our second x and our second y. So we do x2 and y2. Now we can use our equation to solve for our slope. So we have m equals y2. Well, what number is our y2? It's 5. So we put 5 minus y1. Well, what number is our y1? It's 4. So on the top of our fraction bar, we have 5 minus 4. Then on the bottom of our equation, we have x2 minus x1. So we take our x2 value, -1, minus our x1 value of 0, and that's on the bottom of our equation. Now we just have to do our subtraction. Do the subtraction. 5 minus 4 equals 1 over -1 minus 0, which is -1. So our slope is 1 over -1, which we can reduce to just -1. That would be our slope of those 2 points. All right, one more example for you guys. We have -2, 3. And 1, -2. -2, 3, and 1, -2. We want to find the slope from those 2 points. So first step, label our coordinate points. We have x and y, and it's our first x and our first y. So we have x1, y1. Then we label our second point, x2, it's our second x, y2, our second y. Then we come back to our equation, our formula, and we use that. M equals, on the top of the line, we do y2 minus y1. y2 is -2 minus y1, which is 3. So we have -2 minus 3 on the top of our fraction. On the bottom, we have x2 minus x1. So our x2 value is 1 right here, x2. And minus, we have to put that minus sign. Then we choose our x1 value, which is right here. So -2. Now, if we look closely, we have a double negative because we're doing minus a -2. If we think back, double negative becomes one big positive. So on the bottom, we have 1 plus 2, which equals 3. And on the top, we have -2 minus 3. signs are the same. We add the numbers and get 5 and keep the sign negative. So our slope for this equation is negative 5 over 3. All right. That's all the notes we have. So check in with Ms. Tidrick and complete the 4.4 homework. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.